We've had him on the show a few times, actually, and we did talk about the war against black boys. And so I think this would be a very good read, as well as a guide, a tool, an instrument in your hands. I'm a mother of two, a growing, well, one is already grown, but a growing son, so that would be a good thing for me to have too. So I urge you all to get it. And, again, if you need the information again, just either contact me or either Google his name, and you'll be able to get to his website to get that book. Now, Doctor, we got to get down to the nitty-gritty because like I said, we've been dealing with this topic of polygamy for the last few weeks. And a lot of the brothers are, of course, they're like, I'm glad, you're talking about it. You got some brothers who say, well, it's not for me. That's understandable because I always say this is not for everybody. Polygamy is not for everybody. So those of you who are getting uptight, you're getting uptight for no reason, you're getting your blood pressure up, as they say, take a chill pill. If this is not for you, then just, listen in on the conversation or turn the channel. But this is something this is a solution that we as women, not all of us, because I'm talking about the ones who I talk to, the ones who are in the circle where I'm at, we see this as a solution. So we want to go into polygamy. And before we even get off into it, I would like for you, Doctor, to go ahead and break down the definition so people they can understand and have a clarity the difference between polygamous and polygyny. Polygamy and polygyny.
Well, polygamy itself is multiple marriage, and that could be for either gender. That could be a woman with multiple husbands. That could be a man with multiple wives. So polygamy just speaks to plural marriage in the general sense. Polyandry speaks to a woman with multiple spouses, multiple husbands. That's polyandry, which does have a historical precedent. We've seen it in the continent. And just like with its counterpart, polygyny, which is a man with multiple spouses or multiple wives, you've seen polyandry practice whenever there was, in fact, a shortage of women. So in societies where there was a shortage of women, there was polyandry. And in societies where there was a shortage of men, you had polygyny. Now, obviously, because of war, you're more likely to lose men than you are to lose women, which basically necessitated polygyny in the very first place. Polygyny was never something that women did because they wanted to. No one voluntarily shares a spouse, but because in Africa we deal with things from a collectivist standpoint based on what's in the best interest of the community, not individualism, which is one of the biggest barriers to understanding polygyny in our community, because we have been so Europeanized that we see everything through the eyes of an individual. Most of us do not think community first. So if you are an individualist, a European individualist, which most black people are, men and women, you can't possibly begin to understand how a woman could share her husband. You could understand it if you was raised in a collectivist communal society. We have not been. We're the descendants of enslaved Africans. So as a result of that, we see everything through European eyes. So nothing could be more foreign to a European than polygyny. So the first thing we need to understand is women don't do it because they want to. They do it because it's in the best interest of the whole community. The other thing that has to be understood about polygyny is that polygyny was a matriarchal system, not patriarchal. That goes to the second myth of polygyny, and that is that it is a male-dominated system. That comes from the prevalence of Islam, Christianity, and Hebrew doctrine over here in the West. All three of those religions, the Judeo-Christian Islamic creed, all have done not a total job, but a pretty good job of keeping the feminine essence out of religion. All of those are masculinized religions. All of them call on the Creator only in the masculine form, almost never in the feminine form. And so as a result of those religions masculinizing God and masculinizing spirituality, polygyny became a male-dominated system. But when you study polygyny in ancient African and traditional African societies, including societies that practice it up until this day, it's controlled and regulated by the females. And that's one of the biggest misconceptions that I want to make sure we clear up tonight. Polygyny was not created by men. It was created by women. It was created by women. It was not created by men. It is a matriarchal system. But, of course, Islam, Christianity, Hebrewism, it's a patriarchal system. So we need sisters and brothers to understand that we're only talking about African polygamy. I'm not talking about Islamic polygamy. I'm not talking about Christian polygamy. I'm not talking about Hebrew or Moorish polygamy. I'm talking about African polygamy, which is female in essence, not masculine. So that's the other thing that, we need to dispel. I understand the black woman's natural resistance to polygyny. I totally understand it. Okay, I have 6 sisters. I have a mom. I have aunts. Okay, I have women who I'm close with. I understand it. And it's well-founded, too. It is well-founded because the black man has sexually objectified the black woman's body. Sisters have to make sure that they're not being treated as ounces of meat that you get at the meat store, that they're not simply being viewed as a sex stable or as members of a harem. I totally understand where they're coming from. In order for us to practice polygamy in the manner in which it was prescribed by our ancestors, we're going to have a reconstruction of the African male psyche. Our assessment, our relationship, our interaction with black women has to change so we don't look at her purely in the carnal sense. When a black woman walks in a room, we tend to see what? Big butt, nice hips, beautiful face, nice breasts. That's okay if it's subjugated to seeing a queen, seeing the essence, seeing the divine incarnate. But slavery taught the black man to sexually objectify the black woman. So I definitely understand where black women are coming from. But if you're practicing polygyny in an African sense, which means the women regulate the institution, then that means that the men really will not have the authority or power to take advantage of them as so many of them fear.
Right. And you, of course, I agree with it because, and it's coming from a woman's point of view. I like how you said that no one really wants to share their mate because I agree with that. When I say that I believe in polygamy, it's not that I want to share my mate. It's that I understand why I need to. And because I understand why I need to, I accept it. It's not something where I say, well, I don't care about the other women. I don't care if the women don't have anybody, or I don't care if the women out there have children who don't have fathers. If I'm going to have that nation-building mindset, then I have to think totality. I can't just think on a singular individual basis. And I believe that, and this is from talking to other sisters, the main reason why they're having a hard time with it is that the first thing they think of when you say the word polygamy is sex. That's the first place their mind goes. Oh my God, you're talking about giving a man a free-for-all sex fest. And that is totally, well, I should say that should not be the case of why you want to do polygamy. When people contact me, and believe it or not, they do contact me and ask me about, helping them with their relationship because they want to do polygamy and they want me to talk to their woman, or they want all of us to talk together, or however it may be. But the first question I ask them is, tell me why you even want to practice it. And most of the time, they don't really have a reason why. They just want to do it. So my thing is, if you don't even know why you want to do it, then I don't even think you need to be thinking about that right now. You need to know why you want to practice polygamy. So this is not something that we are putting out there, saying, hey, y'all need to do it because, our men need extra women or extra ass. It ain't about that. It's about nation building. So in my opinion, if you ain't got nation building on your mind, then you might not want to think in this concept, because for me, this is really all about nation building, nothing more, nothing less. It's also, for me, about our men. There are some of our men who cannot, they have so much going on in their plate, they cannot actually have it for one woman. You're going to have to have a few women to help certain men to do what they have to do in the world, or doing the nation, or doing their business, or whatever they're doing. So there's a lot of reasons, again, that's that nation building thing that's going on. So we're going to talk more into that, but I wanted to throw that out there because, of course, as being a female, I get a lot of flack. Oh, you have low self-esteem. Something is wrong. You can't get a man. You want to share somebody else's man. I just wanted to put out there, there's nothing wrong with the sister's esteem. My self-esteem is just fine. And as I said on Friday's show, sometimes it's a little too high. So low self-esteem is not my problem, y'all, so don't think that. I want to cover some things because I had heard you, I know you when you were here in Phoenix. By the way, he's coming back to Phoenix in March. I wanted to say that before I forget, March 28th. He's scheduled to come back to Phoenix, Arizona. So all of you Phoenicians who are listening, I know y'all been contacting me wanting to know when and where, and we will continue to bring you details. But March 28th, he will be back here. And I'm also on the venue speaking on that venue as well. So I will let you know more about March 28th. But when you were here, you did a segment about polygamy and things like that, and I heard you on some other shows talking about it, so I just kind of want to points of what you were saying so that we can elaborate more into what you have brought out. And I heard you say that one of the biggest problems that we have is that we don't recognize that we don't own anybody. You know, we have this ownership mentality that, you know, you marry somebody and that person, you own that person. Can you kind of elaborate on that some more?
Yes, indeed. There's also a European concept, the concept of ownership. You know, when I get married, you know, he belongs to me. When I get married, she belongs to me. Don't nobody belong to you. In the African concept, the children don't even belong to you. They simply come through you. We all belong to the village. We belong to the people. We belong to the nation. We do not belong to each other. I think one of the greatest causes of distress amongst black women is not accepting our reality in America. And what I mean by accepting the reality of black existence in America is accepting the fact that the United States government has declared war on the black man and has been at war against the black man since we got here. It's never stopped. And as a result of that war, the carnage has been excessive. 2 million individuals in federal prison alone. Most of them are black men. You look at the homicide. Black men are killed every day in America. There's not a day in this country's existence when a black man has not lost his life through unnatural causes. Or better yet, let's say has not lost his life to a violent interaction. Every day in our 400, 500 years in this country, a black man has died through violent exchange. That is not true for any other group in this country. So we are constantly at war with the government and the American social order. We know that the gender disparities in this country, go as low as 1 black man for every 4 black women to some cities where it's as high as 1 to 16. And I've even seen some recent statistics now that saying it could be even 1 black man for every 30 black women, depending on where you live. But nowhere in America is there an equivalency ratio of 1 black man to every 1 black woman. So the interesting thing about this dynamic is that we still have black women thinking that they're all equally going to find the man of their dreams and not have to share them. Even if they don't want a man of their dreams, they're still going to have to share because it's simply not enough to go around. And no one wants to deal with that reality. If you married every able-bodied black man to an able-bodied black woman, you're still going to have millions of black women without a husband. And what they're going to do is what they're doing now. They're going to share the men that other women are currently involved in. And I don't consider it to be a sin because I believe every woman has a God-given right to have a man, and they have a God-given right to have a child. And they're going to have that man and they're going to have that child, whether you like it or not. But at a deeper level, not only are we dealing with the black woman's refusal to accept the reality of the war against black men and the shortage of black men, we're also not dealing with the issue of sisterhood. That's what this ultimately comes down to. It is not about the men. It is not about sex. It is about sisterhood. As I said earlier, polygyny is a matriarchal system. Black women devised it. Black women said that we're going to share our husbands to make sure all of us have. I want for my sister what I want for myself.